Hi, my name is Tim Myers. You are now watching Unstable Emotional Man. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys very briefly about one of the chapters in my book, Unstable Emotional Man. And it's the chapter of priesthood. I talk about many things in this chapter of priesthood, but one of the things that we'll be focusing on today is keeping our words. Keeping our words. How important it is to keep our word. Right? The Bible talks about how a man should keep his word, how he should honor his word. So much so that God himself said, I put my word above my name. Then he says, my word will not come back to me void. It will go out and do that which I want it to accomplish. Right? And it will be fulfilled, the very thing that I have spoken. It will be fulfilled because I have spoken. Right? So he is not slack on his promise. He is not a truce breaker. And he don't break his promise. Right? So much so that Hannah made an oath to God that if God blessed her with a male child, she'll give that child back to him. God gave her a male child, and she kept her oath. And God saw that this thing was good and gave her more children. Let's think about that. Now, before I get into the rest of this, think about a time when you gave somebody your word and you didn't pull through. Or somebody gave you their word and they didn't pull through. I know plenty of people that I considered friends, that I considered men of valor, that I considered stand-up guys, that they spoke things, and the very moment they spoke it out of their mouth, I knew that they wasn't going to keep their word. I knew they wasn't going to keep their word. This is why keeping your word is so important. Because here's the thing. If you tell me something and you do not keep your word, right? Then I know there's something in you that's inconsistent. And if you're inconsistent with people that you do see, you're inconsistent with God. You can't possibly be consistent with God, and then you can't even keep your own word with men that look like you. You can't. This is why it's important for a man to keep his word. We are judged by every idle word that we speak out our mouth. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. This small member can get you into trouble and can get you out of trouble. The tongue, the Bible describes the tongue as a ruling evil. Who can tame it? It's important for us to keep our word, especially as men, and especially as men of God. Because people are looking at us. People are going by what we speak. Do we practice what we preach? When we say we're going to be there for somebody, do we actually show up for them? Or do we speak things just because it sounds good at that time? How many oaths? How many truths? How many promises that you broke? As a child, I remember promises being broke. People brush it off and say, oh, you know, that they just children. But children even honor words. They respect the adult so much that they hold that person to their word. You have to be careful about the words that you speak. You have to be careful about the oaths that you make. Remember, God honors covenant. So much so that he had covenant with man, with Abraham, with Isaac, with Jacob. It is important because it shows our consistency in God. Let's go to Numbers, right? Let's go to Numbers 30, verse 1 and 2. Let's see how important it is to keep our word. Because if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you in the word. So listen, this is what it says. Dig it. Numbers 30, verse 1 and 2. It says, Then Moses summoned the leaders of the tribe of Israel and told them, This is what the Lord has commanded. This is a commandment. This is a commandment. This is a commandment now. Right? He said, a man who makes a vow to God or makes a pledge under oath must never break it. He must do exactly what he said he would do. There it is right there. So if you make a pledge, if you make an oath, especially to God, an oath between you or your brother, you must honor that because you spoke it. The only thing a man has in this world that's guaranteed is his word. Where do you stand as a man? You must keep your word. If we're made in the image of God, and he is not slack on his promises, nor is he slack on his oath, nor is he a promise breaker, we should follow suit. This is very important to God. Because you know why? I'm going to read some more. Even in verse 3, it talks about if a young lady makes a vow to the Lord and pledge under oath while still living under her father's house. Right? If the father hears it and he says nothing about it, she got to honor that oath. She got to honor that promise. But unless her father say, nah, we ain't doing that, then, and only then, the oath don't have to be fulfilled. And then if you go down a little further, it talks about a husband and a wife. If a wife makes an oath and the husband hear it, and he don't say nothing against it, she has to honor that oath. She has to honor that promise. She has to honor that vow that she made to God. But if the husband reneges on it and said, no, you're not doing that, then she is safe in the eyes of the Lord. She's white clean. She's good. Right? Now remind you, he's talking about the woman now. But if the woman is not in her father's house, nor have a husband, and she's a widow, or never had a husband, every oath that she makes, she has to come through with it. Because God honors covenant. See the dynamic here? He spoke to the man first. He made them come together and said, you have to keep your word. You have to keep your vow. Whatever you say, you have to keep your word. This is why I don't tell my sons any old thing. If I say I'm going to call them back, guess what? I'm going to call them back. I'm going to keep my word. If I'm going to say I'm going to do something for them, I'm going to take them to a place, I'm going to buy them something, I'm going to keep my word. If I know I can't do it, then I said I'll see what I can do. but I will not fly off the handle and make an oath to them that I cannot keep. I've seen too many people, too many children with crushed dreams because people have told them things and did not make good on their promise. This has nothing to do with the other person. This has everything to do with you and holding yourself accountable about every word that you speak. This is what this is about. As men, we must keep our word. We must be consistent in all things. In our actions, what we speak, what we do, how we handle things. Right? Now, don't get it twisted. Before I learned this, and before I was heavy on this, I was very slack on my promises as a young man because I didn't have the education. I didn't have the understanding. I didn't have the wisdom about the thing. So I said things loosely and didn't keep my word. So when I spoke to people like, man, that boy, he ain't doing nothing, man. He always talking. He ain't gonna keep his word. You don't want that to be you. Because then when people start looking at you like, man, this boy not gonna keep his word. He a liar. He a promise breaker. What kind of man do you want to be known as? What kind of legacy you want to be left behind? What kind of legacy you want to leave behind? Do you want to be known as a man that does not keep his word? Or do you want to be known as a man that everything he speaks, he backs it up by the grace of God? And that you yourself will be right with God because you're not just speaking things, idle things, just because you got a mouth and it sounds good. And I stand 10 toes down on this because I know many of men that made oaths to people and did not keep their word. And that makes men look weak when they cannot keep their word. When you cannot stand on business, it makes you look weak. And it makes you look inconsistent. This is why God brought all the men together. Because he was challenging them. What he was challenging them on? Keeping their word. Not speaking idly. Because if you're the head of your house, if you're the priest of your house, when you speak something, it should go forth. It should go forth. It should go forth. When you speak something, being the men of the house, being that priest, when you speak something, it should be guaranteed. It should not be no doubt in your house that what you said, you will make good on it. And whatever you do in the house, however you speak in the house and you keep your word in the house, guess what? It translates to every relationship that you have in the world. Man, he's a good guy. He keeps his word. He said he's going to be somewhere and he was there. This is why when I tell people I'm going to be on time for something, guess what? I'm there early. They can count on me. Because I know the importance of keeping my word. This is why I can be on the phone with somebody and somebody be, yeah, man, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. Or I'm going to be there for you. And I just sit on the phone silent. And I just listen. Because now I'm going to challenge your word. I'm going to challenge you and make sure that you are valid. Because I want to see your integrity. I want to see if you're a man of your word. So today, God is challenging every man No matter what race, creed, or color, he is challenging you to keep your word. Keep your word to him first and to everybody else. I hope someone gets something out of this. I hope this challenges you. Even if it frustrates you and make you mad, I hope that it will make you evolve and apply that pressure that you will keep your word with God and with people around you. My name is Tim Myers. Once again, God bless. Peace.